particularly see people who, look like me or are me playing roles like that. So it was definitely when it got announced.
Snow White!
The drama surrounding Disney's Snow White remake continues to grow louder as the film approaches its theatrical release on March 21st, 2025. For the team at Disney, often referred to as the Mouse House, the countdown to that date may feel more like a ticking time bomb than a celebration. What was meant to be a triumphant reimagining of one of Walt Disney's most beloved and iconic works has instead morphed into a cultural flashpoint, marred by controversies ranging from casting choices to geopolitical tension, and now even internal marketing decisions. The company's unique rollout strategy reflects not just an effort to protect the film, but also a recognition of the firestorm it has already become. The controversy didn't begin yesterday. For years, Snow White has been a lightning rod for criticism. The live-action remake's commitment to progressive creative decisions, both in the script and casting, coupled with Rachel Zegler's highly publicized political and social commentary, made it a target for internet outrage and culture war backlash. Critics of the remake, particularly from conservative media and social platforms, saw it as yet another example of wokeness gone too far. Disney, meanwhile, appeared determined to modernize the film, no matter the noise around it. As a result, the studio is now taking unprecedented steps to control the narrative as it launches the film. This includes an unusual decision regarding the world premiere, which takes place in Los Angeles on March 15th. Rather than rolling out the red carpet for entertainment press in the traditional sense, Disney has chosen to restrict access. While the premiere will not be scaled back in terms of production, red carpet media will not be allowed to ask the stars any spontaneous questions. The company instead labeled the event a celebratory, family-friendly afternoon to match the tone of the film and its target demographic. While the statement sounds diplomatic, the implication is obvious. Disney wants to avoid giving Zegler or co-star Gal Gadot any opportunities to say something that might ignite another wave of backlash. This level of message control is unusual for Disney, but not entirely unprecedented. Warner Brothers adopted a similar media strategy for the red carpet premiere of The Flash, starring Ezra Miller, whose off-screen behavior had drawn severe criticism. However, that comparison draws an awkward parallel. Miller faced accusations of serious criminal conduct, whereas Zegler has mainly generated blowback for strongly worded social media posts and interviews criticizing traditional gender roles, American politics, and the original Snow White film. Gal Gadot has been similarly controversial, albeit for very different reasons. The Israeli actress has been vocal in support of her country following the October 7th Hamas attacks, which has sparked both praise and condemnation on social media. The result is that the two leads, Zegler and Gadot, are both controversial in their own right and stand on opposite ends of the political spectrum. This complicates press appearances, joint interviews, and marketing strategies. Gadot recently appeared at the Academy Awards and was the subject of a false rumor alleging she refused to present the Oscar for Best Documentary to the Palestinian film No Other Land. Her team clarified that she was never asked to present the award, but the rumor underscored the deep polarization surrounding the film and its stars. In another strategic pivot, Disney has opted not to hold a traditional UK premiere for Snow White. Instead, Zegler will participate in a special event in Segovia, Spain, performing at the real-life castle that inspired the one in the 1937 original. While that move may seem romantic and on-brand for Disney, it's also telling. It allows the studio to create media buzz abroad in a more controlled environment, away from the cultural and political turbulence of American media. Even before the restricted premiere plan was made public, many industry observers sensed Disney was quietly bracing for damage. Unlike past Disney blockbusters, ticket pre-sales for Snow White didn't launch until just 12 days before its theatrical debut. That's a stunning delay, especially for a live-action remake meant to anchor the studio's spring release schedule. By contrast, last year's The Little Mermaid and Mufasa, The Lion King had tickets available weeks in advance. exhibition insiders interpreted the delay as a lack of confidence in the film's performance. They've been going through the motions on Snow White, all but saying, "We need to get this thing over with." One source told The Hollywood Reporter, "An advanced sales cycle of less than 2 weeks just screams, we have zero faith in this thing. Query." Disney insiders dispute that take. They claim the plan was always to launch a final push in the last few weeks leading up to release, starting with the Oscars where Zegler and Godot appeared together to present. In the days since, marketing efforts have ramped up with billboards in Los Angeles, morning talk show appearances by Godot, and international interviews led by Zegler. Most notably, Zegler traveled to Tokyo to promote the film and sing "Waiting on a Wish," the lead single from the movie's soundtrack, alongside Japanese singer Sakura Kiryu. She will then fly to Spain before returning to the US for the March 15th premiere. Despite the messiness of the rollout, the movie is currently tracking to open with a domestic box office of $50 to $56 million. That's not disastrous, but it's also not a blockbuster start for a tentpole remake of Disney's most historic animated film. It would place the opening roughly in line with 2019's Dumbo, $45 million, or just below 2015's Cinderella, $67 million. Analysts worry that unless there's a sudden surge in public interest, Snow White might fail to gain traction and disappear quickly from theaters, particularly if it receives mixed reviews or faces ongoing online mockery. But how did things get to this point? The backlash truly began as early as 2021, when Rachel Zegler was first cast as Snow White. Detractors claimed the casting was inconsistent with the original story, pointing to the character's description in the source material as having skin as white as snow. This criticism was not only racially charged, but also reflected a deeper resistance to change within portions of Disney's traditional fanbase. At the time, Zegler was riding high from her role in West Side Story, but controversy began to follow her shortly afterward. In a series of interviews, she expressed a lack of reverence for the 1937 Snow White, calling it extremely dated and taking aim at the film's depiction of gender roles. She ridiculed the prince's storyline, calling it a stalker narrative, and proudly stated that the remake would be the PC Snow White because it needed that. These comments were amplified by social media and led to a string of trending hashtags, critical YouTube commentary, and viral TikToks, many of which mocked Zegler and painted her as overly aggressive or dismissive of Disney's heritage. Zegler's outspoken personality also translated to politics. After Donald Trump's election, she wrote on Instagram, "May Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace." She later apologized for that post, but like most things on the internet, it resurfaced the moment controversy reared its head again. Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date on all the latest in entertainment, pop culture, and behind-the-scenes breakdowns. There's plenty more to come, and we'll be right here to cover it.